fellow called Imran talking about Gog and Magog. We never heard about it before. And of course the majority, absolute majority of the scholars, overwhelming majority of the scholars are saying, no, he's wrong. He's wrong. Gog and Magog cannot be released. The barrier is still standing. Why do they hold this opposition? Why? We have a problem of methodology. At the very beginning of the Quran, Allah teaches a lesson, but it has escaped the attention of many of us. He says that He ordered the angels to bow down to Adam alayhi salam. فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا Iblis. This sentence is not constructed by accident. No. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not deficient in the use of language. No. There is a reason why this sentence is constructed like this. He ordered the angels to bow, to prostrate. And they all prostrated. In other parts of the Quran, Jamia, they all prostrated. Illa Iblis. If you take a verse of the Quran in isolation, or you take a hadith in isolation, the Americans call it standalone, you'll have to come to the conclusion, inescapably, that Iblis is an angel. Can't get away from that. This is the defective methodology. Iblis is an angel. In fact, in my early years as a student, when I was green, I remained green for a long time, I was also battling with it. But it has to be an angel. And then I went dabbling into Christian teaching. They talk about a fallen angel. Oh, he fell down. Because we had not as yet been grounded in methodology. But when you go to the rest of the Quran, you say, hey, wait a minute, I made a mistake there. Because here Allah speaks about the angels. They don't have any free will. They don't have any self-directed will. They don't have choice. وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. They have to do whatever they are told to do. So if they are a creation which must obey, no choice in the matter, and this fellow disobeyed, it looks as though he wasn't an angel, Maybe I made a mistake, Oh my gosh. This is a rotten methodology. To take a verse of the Quran in isolation. And then of course Allah confirmed it all when I went to Surah Al-Kahf, I saw it there straight in my face. وَكَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ. This is not by accident. This is the Lord of the heavens and the earth teaching methodology for study, for the pursuit of knowledge. Do not make the mistake of taking any verse of the Quran or any hadith or anything in isolation and coming to a conclusion. You could be correct, but you could also be wrong. And sometimes when you make a mistake, that's it for you. You're damaged forever and ever. We can't trust you anymore. And that's what, unfortunately, they have done. There's one hadith, only one, in Sahih Muslim, that after Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns, The true Messiah will kill the false Messiah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will فَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ يَأْجُوجَ وَمَأْجُوجَ بَعَثَ. But the Quran uses a different word for release. In Surah Al-Anbiya, إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجَ. When Gog and Magog are released, they're opened. That is the release. And ba'atha means to send or to raise. Well, it couldn't mean to raise here. Why? Because they've been raised long ago. And they were committing fasad long before we built the barrier. So it has to mean Allah will send Gog and Magog at that time. And the first of them will pass by the Sea of Galilee and start to drink the water. And by the time the last of them pass, they'll say, there used to be water here. Where is Amir? Oh, there he is. From Haifa.
Not left.
From Haifa in Palestine, in the Holy Land. And for the last 2 years, he's been monitoring the water level and sending me reports constantly. My student, Amir. The Sea of Galilee is almost dry. Did you know that? It has now reached a level where it can no longer be revived. So it's essentially dead, waiting to dry up. I think that qualifies as a little bit of proof, isn't it? That something is happening here. I think that qualifies as evidence that there's some kind of a passage there for Gog and Magog. But because the hadith says that after Nabi Isa alayhi salam kills Dajjal, their understanding is that only at that time will Allah bring down the barrier, and only at that time will Gog and Magog be released. And Imran Hosein is a voice crying in the wilderness for 15 years now. 15 years now, a voice crying in the wilderness. But you cannot be angry with your brothers, they're more learned than you are. All that we can do is to pray that someone will tell them this is wrong methodology. When you go to the Quran to find out when will the barrier come down, remember we only have a hadith in Sahih Bukhari about the vision while he was sleeping. When we go to the Quran, when will Allah bring down the barrier? We find in Surah Al-Anbiya the verse of all verses. In fact, there are two verses. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا. Notice this is the only passage of the Quran I recite word by word. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. A qaryah, and Allah destroyed it. And we know that before the end, Allah is going to destroy all. وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ, not a single one will escape. وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُوهَا قبل يوم القيامة أو معذبوها عذابا شديدا وكان ذلك في الكتاب مسطورا. سورة Isra, otherwise known as Surah Bani Israel. Every single town and city will be destroyed, and those who escape destruction will be inflicted with terrible punishment. But this is a subject that is mastur. There's a cover over it. When Allah lifts the cover, then you see that. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا. This is a town or a city, and Allah destroyed it. And having destroyed it, the people were expelled. أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. And then He put a ban on them that they can never return to this town or city to reclaim it as their own. حتى. Until when? إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ. Until Gog and Magog are released by Allah. وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْصِلُونَ. And they descend from every height, or they spread out in every direction. Both the meanings are admissible. Which town? Which city is it? You will go to the Quran, it will not tell you. You got homework to do. You will go to the Prophet ﷺ, he will not tell you. You got homework to do. But when you take the totality of the data in the Quran on this subject of the signs of the last day, because Gog and Magog is here, and you ask which town is it, then there's only one answer to the question. It has to be Jerusalem. That the city of Jerusalem was destroyed, and Banu Israel were expelled, the state of Israel was destroyed, and for 2,000 years they could not return. No, they could not return. Allah put a ban on them. But when he was drowning underneath the water, then he realized that he wasn't God. You know, previously he said, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la, I am the Lord Most High. But when he was drowning underneath the water, he said, oh my gosh, I'm not God. I am not God. So then he declared his faith in the God of Banu Israel. So Allah said, Al-Ad, now Fir'aun, وَقَدْ عَصَيْتَ قَبْلَ. And before this, you were in obstinate rejection, وَكُنَّ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. And you were committing fasad. فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ. This day, we have decided, we have ordained to preserve your physical body. لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً. So that your physical body, when it is rediscovered, when it resurfaces in the historical process, will be an ayah, a sign for a people to come after you, a people who live the way you lived and who will die the way you died. At the last moment, when it's too late, then they will say, now we believe. And they'll die like that, the way he died, and go into the hellfire. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا لَغَافِلُونَ. But most people are too busy to bother about my signs unfolding in the world. The body of Fir'aun was discovered at the end of the 19th century. The Zionist movement was established at precisely that moment. And so now the people of the town are going to be brought back. فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ الْآخِرَةِ جِئْنَا بِكُمْ لَفِيفًا. And there's a divine hand in this. It's not acting by accident. And so they come back after 2,000 years. Who is bringing them back? If you can see who are bringing them back, you can identify Gog and Magog.